I'm Lion Runner with reviews and revisits on YouTube and Instagram. On Instagram, reviews underscore and underscore revisits. This is my review of Nosferatu after watching the extended version, which is only 4 whole minutes longer than the standard version on Peacock.
There's a man who lives on the mountains in our area. Locals call him odd and mysterious. His name is Nosferatu.
Please take a quick moment to like and subscribe, and let's get into it. The opening is entertaining and intriguing, and especially visually pleasing, though it uses a cheap jump cut for a scare. And the thing is, this is the only thing scary for about 40 minutes. The scene finishes with some titillating orgasmic moaning from the featured young lady, though she's not having sex, but is communing or supposed to be being possessed by a spirit. Or is she? Not much is interesting for a while as this movie is slow with dialogue by people speaking in soft English tones. Though we're told it's Germany. Granted, we don't want a movie full of speak in a language we can't understand and have to read, but why aren't they speaking English with the German accents? This gives us the opportunity to suspend disbelief where we know such people would be speaking in their language, but for the sake of the film, they speak English. Yet it should still be German accented English. This, I hear, was the same thing done in Ridley Scott's Napoleon, where Frenchmen spoke in British accents, except Joaquin Phoenix playing Napoleon himself just spoke in his normal American accent. Couldn't even go European. This takes one out of the setting of the movie and makes it less authentic. A good attribute through this time of Boer are the visuals of the environment. I love the often black and white color contrast that the movie goes to in moments of fearlessness, allowing for the visual to be tonally apropos to the time and circumstance of the film, setting a mood that brings you into the moment. The grays and the light against the dark really provides a beautiful contrast. The lights are very sharp against the darks, and the grays again really give you the feel and the mood of this dark, eerie space in time in this dark place that these people are in dealing with this spirit. This was a great use of light and darkness, of the contrast that was a good piece of filmmaking within this film. The facial features design of the Count were interesting when we finally get to where he goes to see the Count in his castle. This was one part of kind of the visual of of the Nosferatu that we would kind of see, but it was not the same or similar visual to the original Nosferatu, which was very distinct. It was kind of good, especially on the close up of his eyes and showing kind of close up to his face just from his eyes on up. You got a really good, distinct um, view of what this character looked like. But other than that, it was not reminiscent of the original Nosferatu, who was very distinct with the bald head and the pointy ears. The one thing that was similar was the long clawed hands, but the long extended arms, where his fingers practically touch his knees when standing up straight. The hunched up shoulders, all of that was missing. This, to me, that is not just a very classic representation of Nosferatu, but it is very distinct to this character that kind of sets the mood of the film. And I originally was introduced to this movie when watching kind of a retrospective of horror films many years ago. That was the distinctness of this creature was very, to me, important in kind of creating the feel and the atmosphere of what it's all about and drawing you into it. And that's just not here. It's just a generic kind of odd looking guy that we have in this movie. And it's nothing distinctive about him or nothing that's drawing or reminiscent really of the original other than the clawed hands. So that is another negative for me with this film. Also, though, this movie is boring and pointless. At over 30 minutes in, there's still scarcely a story. The movie constantly hints at things that lie beneath, but nothing comes to fruition. We don't get to it, just more hints, which is not the same as setting up an arc or the premise of the story, as should be done in a first act. There is completely unnecessary full frontal vampire corpse nudity. Thanks a lot. I could have gone my whole life without seeing that. That soon followed by some vampire monsters homoerotic writhing over another man while assaulting him. There's just no story here, just visual tropes. This movie is a vampire demo reel in search of a story. The movie exists just as a vehicle for the classic Nosferatu, but who cares? It's just generic computer generated modern vampire effects in this 2024 film. The original Nosferatu was highly inventive, never before seen, and used creative visual effects that made the thing feel real to the audience just by it being pulled off on screen. This movie's vampire and supposed to be scary moments feel like nothing. It's all completely familiar, and it doesn't have a strong story or powerful acting to save it as even a good general movie, much less a scary one. After being bored to tears for an hour and 19 minutes and with an hour more to go in this extended cut, I started to fast forward. Though I did see a couple of interesting and energetic scenes in the last half hour of the movie, but a movie shouldn't suck for an hour and a half just to have a few good scenes in the end. Not even a few, a couple, I would say. I truly only made it that far because the most entertaining thing I had going on while watching this movie was the batch of collard greens I was whipping up. I'm new to making them, less than a year, so my mind was piqued by engaging my technique there more than anything coming off the screen of this movie. Uh, Adam Naiman the Ringer, a top critic on Rotten Tomatoes, who's one of a few to correctly score this film on as rotten, writes, Nosferatu is gorgeous, yet inert, the cinematic equivalent of an exquisite corpse. There's no point in driving a stake through a heart that isn't beating in the first place. And that's exactly right, as it sums up much of what I've said to this point. Go read the fresh reviews of the top critics, though. They aren't glowing. They mostly say it's good because it looks good. Nothing about the story, nothing about the plot, or actually enjoying watching this movie for more than 2 hours. This movie is weak. The first three quarters is all filler to get to the showdown with Nosferatu. Again, they had no story to tell. There's no allegory. Really, no nothing. And it's a horror movie that isn't scary. It's another uninspired Hollywood thing that's just put out there with the name of something classic on it, baying you to the theaters with remember that thing that you once liked? Well, here's a soulless replica of it, but it's got the outer skin, so that's all that matters. And that's what we got here. Just a hollow outer skin of something classic that was inventive and scary in its time. The only thing good here is the film craft as far as the visual technique, but that's it. There's not a movie here. It's just a visual demonstration that could have been uh, a 15-minute short film reel, and that would have probably been better if you just put that together as a tribute to the original Nosferatu. But this is not a 2 hour plus feature length film. Certainly not something that you would bother sitting down in your home to watch. So I would say skip it, but of course, make your own choice. Again, I'm Line Runner with reviews and revisits both on YouTube and Instagram. Again, on Instagram, it's reviews underscore and underscore revisits. Like, subscribe, notification bell, and I'll catch you on the next one.